Welcome, M. Solomon here with another session of mortgage lending, servicing fact, falsehood, and lies, deciphering the fact from fiction, the fiction from nonfiction. I want to look at do a review, if I could, of a couple of the sessions that we've already had. And in this session, I'm looking at, well, if you want to be properly prepared in doing your own case, your analysis should include the most recent servicing statement. And that statement will show an outstanding principal balance. In this case, we have an outstanding principal balance of $618,005.81. The next thing I look at is the note face value. See it right here. And what we're going to do is subtract the two. They give me a margin. I call it a margin. That'd be the difference. 31,705.81. Now I have a couple of things that are available to me that I'm going to calculate. Take, for example, the note. If I want to divide the margin by the note, it comes up 5.4078. That's called a coupon. That's a manufactured rate. That violates your TIL, it violates RESPA, it violates a number of things, but it's a manufactured rate after the fact. I can also take the outstanding principal balance and I can, for example, in this case, we can divide the outstanding principal balance by the margin. That 618,005.81 divided by 31,705.81 margin gives a term 19.49 installments. Important word for you to remember, installment. Now I'm going to use a per annum of 365.3, number of days in a year. Multiply that times a 19.49. That's going to give me number of days for a term. 7120.38. Now, we need to pick a date to offset the number of days. If I said there's 365 days left till, you'll probably say till what? You need to have an anchor, something to balance that statement off of. So we're going to rely on the Y2K here. That margin, 31,705.81, happens to also convert into a date. Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, any financial software is going to do this for you. And when we convert it to a date, we get, as you can see, the date is October 20th, 1986. And when we add 7120 to 10/20/86, it gives us a cutoff date of 4/19/06. Now, this loan originated on 12/16/2005. So, if we backdate that, we're off by 124 days, 124.19 days. So that's interesting. If I also take it out, you can play around with this, but you're going to have to do some trial and error to figure out what the computer is really doing to you here. I can go to the end of the month from the date of funding, and that would be 12/31. Whoops, 12/31/05. Give me 109.19 days off. Right now, why don't we do this? If we go from 10/20/86 and we subtract, let's say, 180 days, 180.5 for a 10/31 exchange, it takes me from 10/20/86 to 4/19/06, adding in the 7120 days, And what I'll do is subtract the 180 days, 0.5 for a 1031 exchange. And that gives me 10/20/05. Okay, from 10/20/86 to 10/20/05, which would be right around the time the borrower took the application, actually. Right at the time the borrower entered into this application and purchased 10/20/05, that would equal 19 years to the back date. So I'm going to stick with that for right now. So to recap, that was a 1031 exchange. So to recap that last, I think you remember all of this, but to recap the last, we took the margin, divided it into the outstanding balance. That gave us the number of days, or they gave us a number of installments. And then we multiplied that times 365.3, and that gave us a number of days. We converted the margin into a date. It's called Y2K conversion. And when you do that, we find out that there's a scheme, if it can be argued, a scheme that backdates our original loans, or the original loans closing, backdates it to 10/20/86. In this case, it takes us all the way out to 4/19/06, which, by the way, I was just reminded, that was, I believe, the date the loan was sold to the investor. So we're going to keep that after all. That was the loan sold date. So that stands on its own without any jerry-rigging, without any other enhancements. And that was a total of 713. That was the date the loan sold. That would have been a sale from, I believe it was a sale from First Horizon. Sold to J.P. Morgan Chase. That is confirmed. That was the actual loan sold date from to. What you see here is a reconstruction of a file where the file has been canceled. When the file is canceled, the loan is destroyed, the file contents are destroyed, the note is destroyed. That falls under cancellation of debt by involuntary conversion. And here's a real crafty, keen way of reconstructing a file, just having knowledge of these basic formulas. So first and foremost, that tells you there is no mortgage, there is no loan, there's no servicing to foreclose, no servicing to collect, and nothing to foreclose on unless all parties to the claims are willing to go along with. They're a borrower and there still is a mortgage. There is no mortgage here. But more importantly, you got to understand that there's some things that you need to pay attention to if you're going to be a servicer doing this kind of stuff. Most importantly, I think, is SEC Rule 1122AB. And under 1122AB, your servicer most likely had to issue an attestation. And that attestation is a sworn statement to the Securities and Exchange Commission that there is no mortgage, that they're faking the mortgage, that the note was canceled, cancellation of debt was by involuntary conversion, the number of payments required to amortize the note to zero are called installments, they backed into a coupon, etc., etc., etc. You can't serve two masters. So if we can find the SEC 1122AB attestation as proof with these numbers that what's happening here is beyond the scope of a mortgage, it's beyond the scope of a conventional loan, it's a installment sale by cancellation of debt and involuntary conversion. We're going to let you go. Enjoyed having you, and you can reach me at 202-550-8364. If you have any questions, write me at tryexpert.witness@live.com or secondarytradedesk@gmail.com. Take care.